Welcome back to the channel. This is episode 2 of Dispersed. My name is Sean. You're on the Sean Canoe YouTube channel. I'm dispersed camping with my girlfriend Taylor right outside of Estes Park, Colorado. And if you saw the first episode, there was some weird discoveries at that campsite. It's like someone had multiple dumps around the campsite full of trash. Every tree around was marked with a hatchet, and there were multiple trees that were cut down with a hatchet or an axe. So walking around this site definitely looks cleaner. Surrounded by trees. There are some hatchet marks on some of these trees. And this is a Forest Service road, so you can hear in the background some dirt bikes. A lot of dirt bikes, and four-wheelers on this trail. It's a pretty intense trail. The Jeep is mostly stock, crawls right over everything, but definitely raises your heart rate a little bit. So one thing this campsite has is some wood here. Looks like hardwood that was taken out of someone's house or something. Just a big pile of hardwood. This type of stuff you don't want to burn because it's probably treated with some chemicals, so they're going to be breathing in some even more toxic smoke than usual. But we're staying away from this area and staying at this area right here. So you can see it's like a little circle around here. There's a couple sites. Down there is one of the main roads. There's a four-wheeler right there. And then kind of up there is more of the main service road. So we're gonna start getting set up. I also have a new tent to set up. I've been camping with my backpacking tent for a long time, and I finally got a more of a long-term tent, even though we're staying one night. So we're gonna start setting up camp, and then I'll show you the new tent. I've only set this tent up one time before. Didn't have directions because all the directions are in Japanese. So it took a little bit, and then partway through setting up the tent, I had to move one of the stakes, which was stuck in the ground somehow. So watch how hard I tried to get it out, and then eventually found out why it was stuck. I don't understand. Jesus. So it turns out I drove the stake right through a giant root, and it was holding on to the stake for dear life. All right, after getting out the most stubborn stake I've ever experienced in my life, the tent is up behind me. This is from DOD Outdoors. You can see the logo on the back there. It's a Japanese brand, Japanese outdoor brand. So DOD Outdoors sells tents and sleeping accessories like cots, and all kinds of nicer accessories. This tent it's a one pole tent. So you see there's one pole right there in the middle that's kind of holding this up. And then of course some stakes. It's designed to just be added to a tarp. So on their website they have an example, but basically if you have a tarp already strung up, it's possible to just hang your tent on the tarp and you don't even need the pole. So you can see it's kind of an interesting design. It's like an inner tent and an outer tent. I think you can also rotate the outer tent 180 degrees to make a sleeping section and then more of just a covered living section, which I might do that at Overland Expo in a couple weeks. But you can see it's pretty tall, probably 5 feet or so. There's space for 2 here on the inside. Now when I'm camping alone, I'll bring my cot, and that barely fits in here. But you see there's space for 2 people side by side. There's also a window there at the back for more airflow. The mesh here, and then also the cover here. So it's pretty cool. So back to the campsite itself. I did a little walk around, showed you the pile of wood over there. It's sort of a different campsite. Also just looking around at trash. There's not that much trash. Taylor did find a one of those plastic 6-pack keeper things for sodas or Gatorade. But other than that, maybe some broken glass here and there. But nothing like that campsite from the first episode. So we have lunch ready to go. We're most of the way set up.
Wind calmed down, which is nice.
We had some weather pull through for a bit, so we hunkered down in the tent for a little bit. Since it cleared up, nice blue skies. Beautiful now. Not too warm, not too cold. And then did a little bit more of a walk around of the campsite. So before I mention some hatchet marks on the trees, this must just be a common thing at campsites. I guess people get here and they think that they just want to let out some frustration or something. So they smack the trees around the campsite with a hatchet, but the marks don't go away. They leave scars on the trees. And then exploring a little bit more, we found a couple of shotgun shells, some raspberries. Yum. Some people ripping through the service roads. So yeah, we found like a crust of a pizza, a couple shotgun shells. You know, I mean, I'm all for coming out here to shoot your guns, but pick up the shells. It's pretty easy because, you know, they're just plastic shells, so they'll last forever out here. So it's about 3:50. A couple hours we'll eat dinner, but in the meantime we'll just kind of enjoy the nice weather and our sweet little spot we got. I was hanging out in the hammock and my beer fell and almost ruined my day, but I got out fast enough to didn't soak my underwear. I've done several mods to the Jeep without making videos. So recently I've been doing the mods and not worrying about making videos because a lot of times I'll just get frustrated and then not finish the video anyway. So I decided I'd rather just work on my Jeep without worrying about the camera. So let's do a little update on the things I've done since I made an install video. So I installed these yellow headlights, kind of just like an homage to those old Porsche, vintage Porsche cars that have the yellow headlights. I just think it looks cool. It's something different. Eventually I might swap it for the regular lens again, and maybe put these on the Ruckus, which I think would look cool. Also, I've been having this bad like squealing sound and some vibration, and when I went down to check my front axle shaft, because in December I replaced both axle shaft U-joints. The passenger side is doing fine, it's no play or anything. The driver's side was really loose, so I must have installed it wrong. So instead of getting another U-joint, I just got the whole assembly, U-joint included. So I went ahead and replaced it, new U-joint, and it fixed some of the loud squealing noises, but there's still some noise and still vibration. So I think it has to do with the front drive shaft. Haven't really diagnosed it yet. There's no play in the front or the rear drive shaft. I'm pretty sure it's in the front because the steering wheel vibrates. And I know that if it's the rear drive shaft, your butt kind of just vibrates, like your seat vibrates, but your steering wheel doesn't. So it's got to be somewhere in the front. Probably a U-joint in the front drive shaft, but there's no play in it. Either way, I'll probably replace it, or at least try to grease the front U-joint, because I do have a U-joint that has a greasable or a grease cert. Also, whenever I replaced my front axle shaft, driver's side axle shaft, I also replaced my rear bumper. So that's a new bumper. Before I had the stock bumper with a frame mounted hitch on it. So it was like bumper here, hitch down here. And I kind of wanted to just consolidate it, bring it up a little bit so it wasn't so low. So I got a bumper with a hitch integrated. And this gave me more trouble than the axle shaft. The axle shaft was done in an hour or less. This took me like the rest of the day. I still need to, it only has like half the bolts in it because the other ones wouldn't line up. So I didn't have a big enough drill bit because I only have a impact drill and not a drill. So my impact only had a small drill bit. I've since gotten a larger drill bit for my impact that I can drill these holes out and fix it. I just have to get around to do it because you need to drop the gas tank to do this and everything, so it's a bit of a pain in the butt. It's still sturdy. It's not like it's gonna fall off. I can still stand on it. There's no play or anything. But if I want to put something in the hitch, like a rack carrier, I'm gonna want all those bolts in just to be safe. I also want to talk about my rear platform. This is a new platform. It's pretty simple. A board on here, board on the sides. I have some mounts for my solar panel, a place for my jack, different little carrier for other things. And then here in the front, I added this nice hatch here so that I can get to stuff from like I am now. I can get to stuff that it's in the way back. Pretty cool. It's worked great so far. It still has my Milwaukee Packout crate, fits perfectly, and we stuffed everything in here, all the boxes on top, and it works.
Okay.
Once we were done with dinner, we kind of just sat around, enjoyed the calm of the evening, and then I kind of had a thought and tried to fix the tent because I think there's something off about it. It's the next morning. It's beautiful, calm, sunny outside. And last night before we went to bed, I had a thought because my tent just wasn't going up like it should, and it didn't look like the pictures. I think I figured it out now. It still looks a little off, but it looks better than it did. So before the tent comes with a set of poles, so it has 2 different poles, and I was at first just using one of the poles, but I decided to add another middle piece of the pole and make this taller. So now you can see that the outer tent is much taller. The inner tent is more kind of inside of it, and it's also sitting taller, and the sides are more taut like they should be. So I think I'm getting closer to the way it should be. I'm gonna watch some videos of how it's actually supposed to be done, so that by the time I get to Overland Expo, I look like I know what I'm doing when I'm putting up my tent. I think we're close though. So now we're gonna eat breakfast. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you missed the first episode, I'll leave a link in the description or right up here, and you can click on it and watch the first one. It's a good one. We're gonna get some shots on the way out, so stay tuned for that. Subscribe if you want more. See you in the next one. Peace.